There are three things that we are all doing that tend to block this sense of inner peace. Inner peace basically means that we feel this sense of contentment in our own skin, where we can allow things to come and go without reacting, and that we genuinely feel good about ourselves. So these three things: number one, you're actually quite mean to yourself. This means that you name call, that you use fear and kicking yourself to get where you want to go. The second thing is that you overthink a lot. Okay, so overthinking constantly means we're living in the future. We're always trying to figure out the most perfect way, the best possible way, with this imaginary picture of perfection that we're striving for, and we're always left with this sense of inadequacy or discomfort because we're not there yet, or it's not happening our way, or it's not being done the way that we think it should. So if you combine those two things, because usually if we are quite mean to ourselves and we name call and we tell ourselves that we're not good enough constantly, and we're constantly striving for this level of perfection that probably doesn't even exist, then we're always going to feel inadequate. We're never going to feel comfortable in our own skin, and we're never going to be able to touch this kind of sweet baseline of just feeling at peace with ourselves and feeling at peace with what is happening around us in our lives, regardless of how much chaos there is. And the third thing is that you've actually set up your life to live more like a robot than a human. So the thing is, with all of these things, if we're setting up life, constantly running, constantly chasing that next achievement, giving ourselves a hard time, constantly living in the future, always feeling inadequate unless we're there yet, you're not doing anything wrong. Because that is actually the way that the thinking mind works. And it is there to apply logic for you to be able to survive. So I want you to think of the thinking mind. That's the part of your mind that is constantly giving you that long, never-ending stream of thought and story, whether it is positive, negative, good, bad, or otherwise. I want you to think of it as a don't get killed machine. Because that don't get killed machine is there for a reason. It is there so that you don't get killed, so that you are accepted, so that you are safe, so you know when to cross the road without getting hit by a car. But when what you tell yourself about yourself is not helpful, when what you tell yourself about what you should be doing is not helpful, and you end up creating a life that is being ruled by unhelpful thoughts, then we're constantly living in this state of chaos and confusion within ourselves, and it blocks the natural sensations of feeling at home, of feeling connected to who we are, and losing this concept of we have to do more and be better to get these fleeting moments where we're just going to let go and relax, where we're going to feel happy for just a moment. Because the thing is that is a trap, because as soon as you get there, you get that perfect picture that you were chasing from whipping yourself. Then we get there and we don't actually acknowledge it. We don't even acknowledge ourselves and everything that we put in striving to get to this place. What we do is just raise the bar. But the thing is that you're not doing anything wrong. Your thinking mind, the don't get killed machine, is simply doing its job. That's exactly what it's there to do, except when it becomes unhelpful, except when it starts to consume all of us, because we start to lose sight of reality and we start to live through thought. And when we're living through constant overthinking, constant fear of failure, never feeling good enough, constant doing, be more, progress, be better, the actual reality, which is the beautiful moments of connection, the little moments of peace and stillness, starts to actually shrink into the background, and the foreground is consumed with busyness. And that's when we start to feel like, what's the point? And we start to feel exhausted. And we start to lose track of meaning. And we start to actually lose ourselves in all of the doing. Now the thing is that the thinking mind is only one aspect of your mind. It's just that it's grown to be the size of a watermelon, and the other aspects of the mind are shrinking down to be the size of a pea. So we want to bring back some harmony, because if your mind is in overdrive, we start to lose touch with the present. We start to lose touch with what truly matters. We start to live based on doing rather than heartfelt meaning. Big difference. Big difference. So with the other aspects of the mind, we have our emotional center, where we feel, where we experience, where we smell, taste, enjoy. We have our intuition, which when we're quiet enough and the thinking mind isn't ruling us, we can actually tap into and listen to all of the little messages that say, that's not right for me, or that feels right for me. And then we have what's called our ego, which is our personality, which we actually have a negative kind of connotation put to it in the Western world, rather than realizing that the identity, the personality that you show up with in the world should actually be a reflection of your true self, which is another aspect of the mind that is shrinking down because of all the doing, because of all the noise, to less than the size of a pea. Now, your true self is the observant mind. That's the part of you that watches everything that's going on. Doesn't need to label it, doesn't need to like it. It accepts everything as it is. And it's able to just sit and observe the emotions without entangling. Or it's able to direct the emotions so that we can start to feel the sensations we want to feel. We can bring on the feeling of softness and kindness and compassion and joy if we want to. The observant mind has the ability to watch the thinking mind and choose to respond or react, accept or reject. The observant mind can observe their intuition, the feelings and the sensations, that inner wisdom, that guidance, and choose to respond or react, accept or reject. So the observant mind is the center, but this is the part of us that we are slowly, the more busy we have, the more we live like a robot that is surviving, not thriving, the more we strengthen the muscle of the thinking mind. This is the part of us that's letting go. And when the thinking mind and the ego get together and you start to create an identity for yourself that is not a reflection of who you are based on what you think you are, not who you are, it becomes actually quite dangerous. Because we set up a life doing things that we do not want to do based on what we think others want from us, or based on our thoughts. So how do we access this inner place of peace? Because when you sit with who you really are, and we start to observe all of the contentment, the sweetness, the joy, everything that we're looking for in that place of true presence and mindfulness, is actually what we've been looking for internally. So everything that we're seeking is already there. It's not out there. It's not in the striving, it's not in the doing, and you will become more effective. You will be able to listen to yourself and make decisions based on your own inner guidance, not this imaginary world of happiness and perfection that you're going to get to someday, because someday is not a day of the week. Today, On Monday, at this moment, that is a day of the week. This is a moment. And this is the moment by moment that we get to choose to rest in that place, to actually stop, to actually be, to actually connect with the body, your best friend for life that you're living in. It's as simple as stopping, because the gateway to everything you actually want to achieve in a more effective way in the external is by going in. And that involves something very, very simple. It actually requires you to do nothing at all, and to be okay with sitting and doing nothing at all, so that you can wait to respond instead of constantly reacting. When was the last time that you just sat and gazed at the stars? Or watched the sunset go down slowly without the need to rush and be anywhere else? The last time that you just were you, and you were happy sitting with just you. The last time that you did absolutely nothing and didn't feel guilty about it, and Netflix doesn't count. Where you were actually just okay with doing nothing but what you felt like for a whole day. Just being. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just being, and giving yourself permission to do it without guilt. It all sounds really easy, but it's easier said than done. It's very simple, but not so easy. The thing is that if you can wind your mind back right now and remember the last time you just were for an extended period of time, you would notice that from that space, that well, that sweetness, that there came little sensations of peace, little sensations of calm, maybe a little smile, just because you're acknowledging life around you, you within that life, and being okay with it without trying to make it suit you, without judging it and wanting it to be different. How creative were you coming out of that space? How connected did you feel to yourself and to others? How inspired were you to then maybe go back and change things up in your life? So it's great if we can set off to a retreat and hide in the forest for a week and have these long, extended periods of time to tap into that well, but that's not always a possibility. Getting into this rest and digest, and that's actually what happens inside, so that all the stress hormones can drop down. So the adrenaline that you think you're living off energy when you stop and you get sick and you near fall over, you've been living off adrenaline. The cortisol, the adrenaline, the noradrenaline, it all gets a chance to just drop down. And we don't need long breaks to do it. When we get into this rest and digest mode, all the answers that we've been seeking are there, and it can be in small moments. Like if you're fishing, or playing golf, or just walking without your headphones in, without thinking about the list of what you have to do for the day. You're actually with every step. You're actually with every breath. Maybe you're just hanging at home, pottering around, doing the dishes, listening to a bit of music, and you're just being. You're just happy to be in that moment. Maybe just staring into space. If taking time to do nothing but be became so crucial, so not negotiable, in the same way that the standard that you have that you're running for is not negotiable, what would change? And if there were small things week by week or small things day by day, and all of those little moments of being, of peace, internal contentment, just letting your hands off the steering wheel of life for a moment, added up to a greater level of peace. We do not need extended periods of time, because once you step into that stillness of just being, and your mind will still be thinking, it won't stop. It won't ever stop. That's a myth. You will create longer space between thoughts. The nature of your thoughts, if you're mean to yourself, will change if you practice peace. When you're in that space, if you can then direct your thinking mind to imagine. So the power of that thinking mind, the don't get killed machine, is that if you learn to direct it instead of it directing you, you can actually use it as a profound tool for imagining whatever you want. It is limitless. The pictures you can see, then the feelings that you can choose to feel and choose to bring on. You can learn to actually direct your feelings. Literally right now, if you pictured the greatest possible version of yourself and you felt like what it was like to be in that skin, your mind, your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, it doesn't understand that that's not real. So in the same way that you're living in the future, worrying about things that haven't happened yet, running a race with that imaginary bar set, your mind doesn't understand it's real. So it's releasing adrenaline all the time. Your body's going, hey, we gotta move, we gotta move, we gotta move. So when we pull it back and go, hang on, I'm just gonna stop a minute, and then I'm gonna direct my mind to imagine whatever I want. And I'm gonna bring on the feelings that come with that so I can feel whatever I want to feel. I'm going to listen to my body that says, I feel a little bit dehydrated, or I'm actually hungry, or I've been ignoring the fact that I need to go to the toilet for 3 hours. And start to listen to what the body is telling you that it really needs, which might be that long walk or that game of golf. And remember, if it became crucial and not negotiable and you worked it into your schedule, just like you managed to work everything else in, and you stop listening to those thoughts that are like, someday. Because every time you go against the little messages, the heart, the body sending messages, the heart sending messages, it's like breaking your own heart. And that is how your confidence in yourself ends up around your ankles, because you no longer trust yourself, because you've been denying constantly, listening to this, listening to the fearful thoughts, listening to the way you give yourself a hard time, buying into it, giving it meaning, giving it all your attention. And every time we let go of what we truly need or truly desire, that truly holds meaning to us, you look back over a year or two and you've let go of so many things. And it's been replaced with a lot of doing and a lot of giving and a lot of output. It's a lot of yang. There's no sweetness. There's no yin. You've got to think of the yin time, the stopping and the being, as like, the yang is like with an oil lamp, the yang is like the flame. But that flame has to be fueled by oil. And when the oil runs out, that's when we start to feel like there is no meaning, because we've been missing all the little moments, all the opportunities to practice peace. The observant mind, that place where we go to where it's peaceful, it's like a muscle that we have to flex. It doesn't take long. You can choose extended moments or very short moments. You could even right now just sit, breathe, without thinking, how long is this video going to be? I've got things to do. And just take a moment to actually feel your body, to actively relax all the muscles in the body, to close your eyes and just take a breath. And just check in with you. And if we made that time not negotiable, just a couple of seconds, and we did it many, many times, it all adds up to great waves of peace. There is no day where the retirement's going to come and you're going to feel at peace if you have not built a relationship with the body, your best friend, that you're living in the whole time. And you have whipped yourself to get there. All we're doing is paying attention without the need to change anything, in a gentle, relaxed way, to what is going on around us, and accepting everything the way it is. If I feel sad, I'm okay to allow the sadness to be there. If I feel overwhelmed, I'm okay with allowing the overwhelm to be there. Stepping into that place of watching, breathing into, making room for, accepting things the way they are rather than how we want them to be, to suit ourselves and our imaginary bar of hardness that we're chasing. This is only the first gateway to peace. I'm going to introduce you to other gateways to peace. This is the first. The first gateway to peace is being able to recognize that your don't get killed machine is ruling, and just choose to stop and to do nothing. To do nothing other than allowing yourself to be, allowing yourself to actually watch what's going on, and then choosing, if you want to, imagine whatever you want. Imagine where you want to be. Imagine how that feels. Listening to the body, taking a couple of moments. You have a practice for doing this that you love already. But what if it became not negotiable? What if it became crucial to your life? Because it is. It is crucial that when we get to where we're going with whatever it is we're creating or whatever it is we have to achieve, that we actually have a relationship with ourselves when we get there that is truly special, that truly holds meaning, that we've got our own backs, and that we didn't miss all of the little moments of contentment and wisdom and beauty and joy and compassion and kindness and just connection along the way. So I want you to try the art of just doing nothing. To try and unlock these little moments of peace that exist, that you get to be the conductor of. You don't necessarily need someone to take you there and guide you into it on a very long, deep, peaceful journey. I can take you there, but you can take yourself there whenever you want. And the sooner you realize this, and the sooner you make it non-negotiable, all those little moments that you take to just check in with your breath and the body, your best friend, that you take to just check in and watch what's going on, that you take just to let your hands off the steering wheel of life, that you take just to be. Repeat that many, many times. Remember to come back to that place where you just watch, where you're just observing, and it will equate to a whole ton of peace, a whole ton of inner contentment and fulfillment that will come over like waves. So I want you to try this. And if you have any questions, or you really believe that your thinking mind is just a watermelon size and it is ruling, then drop them below or shoot me a message. Have a great day.